Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 5. Is it episode 5?
I think so.
Of the Exordia Creative Podcast. I'm your co-host, Quentin Solomon, and right across the table from me,
I'm Jared Lund, and we're going to take it back to basics. We're going to do a little 1-to-1, 1v1, so to speak.
Yep, 1v1. We're just going to kick it,
No
talk
guests
a little
this
bit.
time.
No guests. We've got a little list to talk about, but other than that, we just kind of want to shoot the shay and hang out and chat with you guys.
Yeah, we're going to keep this one casual, where it's like 8 or 9 p.m. right now. It's our first night podcast.
Yeah.
Trying something different.
I think we recorded the first one at night, too.
Yep, maybe it's just an us thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's address the fact that it's been a little while. So I think we're about 1 week behind. We made it through a week without a podcast, so we're sorry about that. We're going to get back into the swing of our regular schedule.
Yeah.
We do have quite a few guests lined up. We have one lined up for next week already. I'm really excited to introduce you to her. I don't know if we're gonna drop her name yet, but you can look forward to that. And in the meantime, we're just happy to be back.
Yeah. And I think the one key to podcast is being consistent. So
100%.
But like we've always said, is that we have to prioritize our business, and we love doing this. This is a way for us to get our name out there a little bit, to have conversations with cool people. But ultimately, business comes first, and we've had a really busy last couple months, and yeah,
It's all kind of like come to a finale this week.
Yeah,
We had a crazy week. Started to fall behind on a few things, and it kind of inspired us to make a change that we've been prolonging for a little bit in our business. So maybe later in tonight's episode, we can talk about that and talk about what kind of inspired us to
for sure,
to make a big move.
for sure.
Yeah, we're going to keep it casual. Like Quinn said, we have a little list.
Yeah.
We want to talk about a few social media platforms, what's happening with the big ones, what's happening with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, maybe a couple of rants, because we're not particularly fond with a couple of the things that some of the platforms are doing.
Definitely.
So we might get into that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, we could dive right into the social media stuff if you want.
Why not?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So, in the beginning of the year, we follow a couple of different ad websites and stuff, and they let us know kind of what's going on, what to expect from these different platforms. And so we can just rattle off a few that you guys can come to expect in 2020. Some of them, I believe, are already rolling out or are already in existence. So just be mindful of that. So Instagram is adding a new boomerang mode and capability to trim boomerang loops in your stories. And I think they've already done that. I was playing with boomerangs today. And so basically what this is allowing you to do is edit your boomerang. So I don't know if you guys play with boomerangs or not. When you play with them, sometimes you get an ugly angle of yourself. You get an ugly angle of what you're trying to shoot, whatever it is. So now what they've done is they're allowing you to go in and edit the boomerang, so you can cut it wherever.
And it's hard to start at the right time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you clip it in a weird spot, and it doesn't necessarily do the thing you want.
Yeah.
So this will be a little bit better way to make it more seamless.
Yeah.
Start it and end it at the time that you actually intend to.
Yeah, and I think boomerangs can be a lot of fun too. We use them. I like to use them.
Yeah, definitely.
Whenever possible. So that's something exciting from Instagram, but there's definitely a little more that Instagram's going to be rolling out too. So we've talked about this before, but we've only touched on it. Facebook has confirmed that more users will start seeing its new desktop layout, which includes tabs along the top of the screen and a more compressed view.
Yeah. So to people listening, have you seen it yet? Are you one of the lucky few who have been chosen to see the new layout? You can't miss it. If you've been using Facebook for a while, it's dramatically simpler and cleaner than what you're used to. I personally really like it. I don't have it. Some of my friends, some of my clients have it. I think it's much needed, and it looks a lot more like Facebook mobile. So I think we're seeing a convergence of what we see on the tablet, the smartphone, the desktop. It's all kind of converging together to be more touch friendly. And I like it personally. So let us know if you've seen it already.
I think it looks clean, and I mean, if you guys aren't driving right now or you're stationary, Google image it and let us know what you guys think of the layout. I think it looks a lot cleaner. And that's one thing that I haven't liked about Facebook is that it's so messy and cluttery on desktop.
Right.
And because of the nature of what we do a lot of the Facebook stuff on desktop.
There's over probably 100 buttons, I'd have to guess, on the homepage.
100%. And I'm looking through here, like on the left side, it's a lot cleaner, whereas typically you have everything from the weather to the pages you're managing and things like that.
It's crazy.
And then I see they've compressed Messenger over to the right. So, I mean, it looks a lot cleaner.
I think it's indicative of this trend that we're seeing where like smartphones are becoming more powerful and they're becoming more similar to the desktop experience. I think, there's less difference and the form factor is kind of blending together. So I think it's cool they're trying to create one product that's similar as opposed to a different experience on your phone versus your desktop.
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
Yeah, for sure. So look out for that, and let us know if you guys are already using that. That would be cool. I'd like to know how many people are making use of that. So here's an interesting one, good and bad, depending on how you look at it. Facebook's adding more detail to its user controls over advertisers' custom audience list targeting. So basically what we see here is Facebook, by the sounds of things, is going to start limiting the amount that advertisers can target on the users. That's how I perceive it.
Yeah. It's becoming like more and more regulated territory.
Yep.
Facebook has to be super aware of the rights of their audience as consumers. So is it the best news for advertisers? Maybe not. But Facebook's just increasingly tightening up security on how you're able to target people.
And I mean, as they should. I really do. Like, I love Facebook and I love how powerful it is. But if they want to continue with this advertising tool and with, I do believe in regulation, but minimal amount of regulation. Yep. I think that it's important that they regulate themselves. And we don't need to know every single little detail about the consumers that we're targeting and stuff. I think this is good overall, but it will. I'm interested to see how it impacts the ads that we run.
Yeah, I don't know the technicalities of what exactly they're restricting from advertisers, but I think they actually foreshadowed this a few months ago at their developer conference, F something, like
F8,
F10, F8. Yeah, maybe it's F8. I'm not sure, but they talked about focusing more on private spaces like groups and private conversation, and how they see that as being the future of interacting, because these public spaces are just becoming too overwhelming and too public. Yeah. So Facebook put an emphasis on that. And yeah, I think privacy is a luxury. Yeah. So good on them.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about groups really quick. Let's just sidetrack here.
Okay.
Groups are a very interesting thing, and I would urge any business owner that's listening to this to maybe start a group around your company. And that could look like several things. Maybe in order to incentivize people joining your group, you offer them some sort of discount code for your store. Maybe they get some sort of special perks that the other people don't get, sneak peeks for sales and things like that. Yeah. So what do you think about groups?
I mean, I think it's, at least to me, as a consumer who looks at both pages and groups, I see the group as more of like a public forum where my input is more welcomed.
Yeah.
I think of pages as like the business speaking to an audience who has less say. Sure, you can comment. Sure, you can make visitor posts if the page has enabled it.
Yeah.
But you don't have as much power as the admin of the page, which is the business running the page. Whereas I think the groups are more omnidirectional. Yeah. Like, you have an equal amount of say. It's more democratic. So I think it's cool. And groups are a really powerful tool. I'm not too familiar with the monetization of groups and if you're able to run ads in them or how exactly that works, but these are very big, they're very active, and they're growing a lot faster than pages are. Yep. As a whole.
Because Facebook's just pushing them more, right?
Exactly. Yeah. They're making commercials for the groups now.
Yes, I saw that.
There's a really cool commercial. Google Facebook Basset Hound group commercial, and you'll see something funny.
Especially if you like Basset Hounds.
Yeah.
Basset Hounds are cute. All right, so that's going on. So just remember that Facebook's adding more detail to its user controls over advertisers' custom audience list targeting. So I'd actually be interested if your guys' ads have been impacted by this, or if you've noticed some differences when you're creating ads for your business. Let us know. Okay, now we're talking about everybody's favorite platform, Twitter. So Twitter continues to ramp up its rollout of new features. It's investigating several new options, including tipping in tweets and reputational scores to de-incentivize trolls. So,
what do you think?
Interesting. What other social platform can you tip in? Does Reddit have tipping?
I think Reddit you can tip in platform currency.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can tip real-time dollars, but you can tip like currency that's only relevant in Reddit. As far as I know, streaming platforms like Twitch, to name a few, you can tip the creators.
YouTube, I believe if you go live on YouTube, you can also tip the...
Yeah, that's true. And
like people, Superfan or whatever it is.
Right, and people do that if you're doing a live stream, for example, and you have a lot of traffic in your chat, you can maybe tip to kind of cut through the noise and ask like a pertinent question or something like that to a creator with a lot of fans. Yeah. I think the tipping is cool. I think, what was that you said about?
Reputational scores to de-incentivize trolls, which is very interesting because you and I have talked about the whole reputational scores and social scores and things like that.
Right. I think reputation is everything. I think it's a good idea in theory. I love the principle of it, but in practice, these reputational scores are going to be dictated by who? By Twitter, who's a biased platform.
I'm assuming it's by Twitter.
Right. So they may have some political stance or some ideological viewpoint that kind of shifts who's considered of good moral standing or of a trustworthy perspective and who's not. So I think that can get tricky because who's deciding who's legitimate and who's not? So sure, it sounds nice, but that's a very slippery slope, and I'm curious to see how they're gonna regulate that.
I agree with that. Yeah, who gets to be the judge and jury of that? Are we actually going to let these social platforms be the judge and jury? Like, is that a thing that we could see happening? Like,
right.
That's what it's looking like.
Yeah. So I mean, it at risk of being too political, like, does that infringe on free speech? Maybe in some capacity it does.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like, I think, should these social spaces be moderated? Sure, of course they should, because like there's some seriously damaging stuff that can be said on them. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, who's going to be judge and jury, and how do you make those decisions?
Yeah. So in some more Twitter news, in the last 24 hours, Twitter has announced it's starting to test its own version of stories.
Yeah, this is brand new. You probably haven't seen it yet.
Called Fleets, which disappear after 24 hours. So exactly like Instagram stories, exactly like Facebook stories, exactly like Snapchat stories, 5 years late. Not 5 years, but
too little, too late, guys.
Too little, too late.
Honestly, like, Snapchat's features have just been picked at by every single major platform, and now Twitter's coming to like pick at the remains. That's how I see it.
Yeah. So I just want to find a little bit, if you want to keep talking about Twitter, I just want to find a little bit about what fleets are and how, because they are a little bit different than the other ones.
Yeah. So I personally don't use Twitter myself, nor do I manage any accounts or work with any clients who are using Twitter. I think Quentin may work with a couple. But yeah, I think everybody's already done the story. So should Twitter do it? Yeah, of course. Why not? Because everybody's already done it. But, too little, too late.
Okay, I'm just going to read a little section of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Twitter is testing its own version of stories. The company announced today it will begin to trial a new sharing format called Fleets, starting in Brazil, which will let users post content to its social network for the first time. Unlike tweets, Twitter's new Fleets can't receive likes, replies, or retweets, and they'll disappear entirely after 24 hours. So Fleets are non-public, to be clear. They're just a little less accessible. So you can visit someone's public Twitter profile and tap to view their Fleets even if you don't follow them, but their Fleets will not circulate Twitter's network, show up in search or moments, and it can't be embedded on an external website. So these are, and apparently you can only respond and only interact with them by sending a DM to the person. Interesting. So it's not the exact same as stories.
It's a story stripped of all its functionality.
Basically.
Huh.
Yeah, and you have to go direct to the person. You have to like respond to them directly. You can't just like it. Okay. But I guess on Instagram you can do like the flame emoji. You can do the 100 sign or whatever.
Yeah, and you can also share a story to your
story. Also, yes, but you can't do that on here.
I mean, maybe you could if you were to take a screenshot and then do it manually. But yeah, if anybody advocates for Twitter Fleets, I know it's brand new, but if you see the positive of this or maybe why they would make it so not functional, then let us know, because I think I'm not really fond of that.
Yeah, we won't see this for a little while. Like it says, it's testing it out in Brazil first, so we'll see what happens there. But that was interesting.
Maybe that's just a beta test, but like you have so many case studies from all these other platforms that have already done it and made it much more functional. So why are you starting in such a limited way?
100%.
It's already proven itself as a feature. Yeah. If you're gonna steal it, then just take it.
Exactly what Instagram did with Snapchat. Yeah. Remember, everyone was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna use Instagram stories," and I remember people just literally used to post their Snapchat on their Instagram story. Do you remember that little phase?
Yeah. And now if you use both, if you do still post stories on Snapchat, I'm assuming everybody listening posts stories on Instagram. Where do you get more views? You get more on Instagram. 100%. Because that's where the eyeballs are.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, back to Instagram. Instagram is working on a new map sticker for Instagram stories.
What does it look like? I haven't seen this yet.
So I'm looking at a little thing right here. I believe I've seen a few people use this. This is also, like I said, some of these features have already rolled out, and I feel like I've seen a few people use this before. Essentially what it is you can put your map, you can put a location somewhere within your story, and it literally shows up as a map.
That's kind of cool.
This might be good for locations, maybe like when people are searching locations, then they'll see your story.
If you're doing like a pop-up event or
something. Like a pop-up, something like that. So that cool.
I don't know when we'll see it. I think Instagram, they have such an enormous user base that it's interesting how slowly they roll out features.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we have access to dozens of Instagram accounts, and some of them I can still see likes. Whereas some of the earliest beta testers, when Instagram removed the likes, were like 6 months ago now.
Yeah, yeah.
So just to show that even something, as dated as that still hasn't made its way to every single user.
Yeah.
I just think that's crazy how long it takes to fully roll out something like that.
Yeah. Something we take for granted. There's probably a lot of back end when they do that, eh?
I couldn't imagine.
Something to consider.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is kind of exciting, and I'm hoping to see a little more out of this. Maybe we'll get more than just DMs.
Right.
But Instagram officially begins testing of DMs in its desktop version.
Too little, too late. Can I rant?
Yeah, you can go.
Guys,
you can go.
Guys, like, Instagram is an incredibly capable business tool, but Facebook does not treat it as such. In the Facebook Creator Studio on desktop, there are so many tools for content creators in terms of scheduling in advance, in terms of aggregating all of your inboxes and all of your scheduled posts into one spot. Instagram has no such thing. Instagram desktop is terrible. Facebook's Creator Studio has recently opened up the Instagram functionality. You can schedule posts now, even though it kind of distorts the resolution of the pictures. It's not great. I just think, there's so much attention on Instagram. It's such a profitable platform. Why are we not taking this more seriously as a business tool?
Totally. I couldn't agree more. And just the idea, like, for example, we make all of our content on our desktop computers. We make very little content on our phones, if any. Maybe it's like a quick little something. But typically we're making content on our computers. How great would it be to just take the content right from there instead of having to bring it to the phone to do it over the apps and stuff?
Yeah.
It's too little too late. But I think the reason why they wanted to do it was because Instagram always wanted to be an app. They never wanted to be desktop. They didn't want it to be like a Facebook.
Right.
But I think that there's still so much functionality in using it as a desktop app as well. Anyway, I totally echo your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And by the way, the Facebook page manager has like a 2.5 star rating on the App Store. Like, I don't think I'm the only person who's that cynical about the whole thing. Like, for example, for years now, since like 2015, you've been able to edit scheduled posts from your phone. And about a year ago, they removed this feature. So why did you update the app to make it less functional? I don't understand. That's personally caused me quite a few headaches. You have to delete a post and recreate it from scratch as opposed to just editing it, or you have to go right onto your desktop to do it. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that's my little
That's all good. That's all good. That's all good. Okay, so now we're switching. We haven't talked about LinkedIn yet. Let us know if you guys use LinkedIn too. I know we have a few different types of businesses that listen to the podcast. Mm-hmm. So if you're B2B, I would assume that you're on LinkedIn and maybe you're putting out some content. But anyway, LinkedIn adds live streaming for company pages and new invite to follow options. So the invite to follow options I've already seen because I've been making use of that.
We love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's great.
It's shameless self-promotion and it works like a charm. So we've done it on a few pages.
As far as as far as live streaming goes, okay. I think the only benefit I really see from live streaming is that all these platforms push it so much that whenever somebody goes live, you always get a notification. If you're friends with somebody and they go live, you get a notification every single time, which is great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I see less and less people going live. What do you think?
I mean, I wish it were easier to go live across multiple platforms.
That would be cool.
At the same time. Like, I know LinkedIn, I believe, is owned by Microsoft. They're in their own little ecosystem. They're not part of Zuckerberg land. But I know major creators who really invest in going live. They have 4 phones going at once, all live streaming to all of the platforms because that's just what you have to do. So I think, why doesn't Facebook and Instagram aggregate going live into one place? Or maybe there's some other third-party app that could get involved and help you aggregate Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and going live. Because I think if you're going to put in all the effort of doing it, then why not do it across multiple platforms?
Yeah.
That's my take anyway.
Cool. Well, that was it for our little social media update.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. But Facebook, please help creators and business owners. Your business manager tool is also a mess in my opinion. It's very convoluted.
Yeah.
So give Instagram creators some more tools because there's so much money being spent on these platforms now. And please do something about the Facebook app. You know, get that 2-star rating up a little bit, please.
Yeah, totally. All right.
Just kidding. We love you, Facebook.
We do love you, Facebook. If it was not for Facebook, we would not be sitting here right now doing this podcast, running the business that we run.
Absolutely.
So we are obviously grateful, but everybody always has something to complain about in their industry that they wish could be better.
For sure. Tools of the trade.
Yeah.
But yeah, earlier I mentioned that this week was very busy for us, and it kind of inspired something. So we've been looking to hire on some help for a long time, and we've worked with a lot of contractors. Like, we're certainly not strangers to letting people help us out with our business, but this week was borderline unmanageable. We've recently welcomed on a few new clients we may announce this episode, maybe. But yeah, we've basically forced our hand into getting some help, and we have been in talks with somebody who we're really excited to get in touch with and start working with. So you may be seeing a new face sometime in the future. I don't know how much we want to disclose today.
I don't think we need to disclose too much. Just know that like we need to grow. And I don't know. I would love to hear from you guys. Sorry, we're really engaging with the audience this episode, but we'd love to hear from maybe the experienced business owner or the new business owner that's maybe just hired. When did you know that you needed to hire, and did you wait until you knew that you needed to hire?
Yeah, our backs are kind of against a wall right now.
And I feel like that is a good position to be in order to hire. Yes, you run the risk of maybe rushing into it a little bit. But I feel like that is an ideal time to hire, is when you absolutely need to, and you know that you can do it. And it feels really good at this time to be doing it, because we've just this last year we've been talking about systems and how we do these things, and I feel like we're ready. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So hopefully we can share a little bit more with you guys, maybe in the next coming month or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really look forward to sharing that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
What else? Should we talk about some new customers that we're working with?
Yeah, let's talk about two of them.
Okay. So let's take it back to 2017 when we first started.
Okay. So 2017, I'm going to tell a funny little story. In 2017, when we first started, we had this crazy idea that we thought that our business would take off super, super quick, and we would have different divisions of our company, and we would do different things with each division. And one of those divisions was Exordia Creative, and the car division, or I forget what we called it.
Right.
The automotive division.
Right.
And we only focused on automotive advertising.
Yeah.
And so it has been a dream of ours to be working with a car dealership, a car company, something to do with vehicles. And so in the last month, we just landed a car dealership here in town. Go ahead.
Chatham Chrysler.
Yeah.
So we've been in touch with them literally since 2017. We've had a few interactions, anything from like impromptu sit-downs to formal meetings and discussions with their team. And they finally signed on. So first and foremost, shout out to Wendy Bloomfield. We really appreciate all the connections that you've helped us make and everything you've done in support of us getting in touch with the Lally Group and getting to work with Chatham Chrysler. So yeah, we're feeling very fortunate to be working there, and we're excited to get started with them. So, and
it's also awesome. Not to discredit any of the other businesses. I love our clients. I love the different businesses that we work with. Yeah. But you and I are both passionate about cars and vehicles.
Right. I think it's cool. I think it's fun.
It's very cool. It's a new industry that we've been wanting to get into, and we're both passionate about it. So I think it's going to be a good partnership.
I think it's a lucrative business. I think it's going to be fun to create content for them.
Definitely.
So in the next couple of weeks, stay tuned to their social media and check out what we're going to do for them, because we've got a lot of ideas, and we're really excited to get started with that.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other client?
Shout out to McNaughtons Home Hardware. They're located in Newbury, Ontario.
Stop in. There's a whole lot at McNaughtons.
Yeah, there is a whole bunch of stuff at McNaughtons. It is ridiculous.
They have a Service Ontario.
Yeah.
They have a gun store. They have everything. A post office, I believe, is in there as well. Yeah. They have everything in downtown Newbury.
It's crazy. So one of our previous clients, shout out to Ryan Rushnack, he actually called it McNaughtonville. Yeah. And it was my first time seeing Newbury when I went to go visit Graham and the rest of the team at McNaughton Home Hardware, and that place is literally McNaughtonville, because they own the mecca of this very small town. There's an LCBO, there's a post office, there's everything in this place.
Everything.
It's huge. They supply to all the major home builders.
Even around here.
Yeah, even around Chatham.
Even around Chatham.
All the way to London, and even beyond that. They're the oldest lumber yard in Ontario. I mean, in Canada. Sorry.
And actually, Graham and I were going over it, and they could be one of the oldest businesses in Canada. It was started in the late 1800s.
Yeah, they've been slinging lumber since the 1800s.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I probably could have selected a better choice of words to say that, but yeah.
It's all good.
Anyway, we're really excited to be working with them, and they're actually the second home hardware that we've been able to work with. Shout out to Tyler Dam. Shout out to Dam Home Hardware in Indian Creek Road here in Chatham.
Yep.
So that's kind of a little niche that we're trying to carve out for ourselves. We love making content for them, and we've had a lot of positive interaction with Home Hardware corporate entity. Yep. So maybe we could do that on a bigger scale someday. That's kind of where we're at now. But in the meantime, we're excited to work with Graham and with Calvin and all the guys at McNaughtons.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We call Newbury McNaughtonville because it's just crazy how much of a presence they have there.
Yeah. And so let's touch on this a little bit. So we've got a client in Newbury now. We recently just did some project work up in Guelph.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a larger theme. We absolutely love Chatham-Kent. But we are also recognizing that it's important to expand outside of what you think
100%
of your main service area and kind of get some feelies out there. So that's been one of our goals for the year too, is to expand outside of Chatham-Kent, and so it's been fun. We've had some projects and we've got some clients outside of the city too.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
We never would have imagined that we'd be so busy in Chatham. When we first started our business, we anticipated that we'd hit the ceiling quickly and we'd have to move to a bigger city, larger market. But things really took off for us in Chatham more than we could have imagined, and we're grateful for that. I think there definitely is a ceiling here, but we're far from hitting it, and that ceiling is higher than we anticipated. So yeah, there is a lot to do in Chatham, but it's also nice to branch out for nothing else other than diversification and risk management. But it's exciting to start branching out into some bigger markets for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What else do you want to jam about?
Those are the major updates of February. So we're super excited to be working with Chatham Chrysler.
Yeah.
With McNaughton Home Hardware.
Yeah.
Might have that new face that we can introduce to you guys soon.
Yeah.
A lot more guests lined up for the podcast.
Yeah.
I spoke my piece about Facebook and Instagram business tools. Come on, guys.
Let's talk a little bit too. So we've been getting some feedback on the podcast. Number one was that we need to bring it in tighter, so we took out the middle part of our table here.
Right.
The backdrop is going to continually change. I'd like to see a sign up here at some point that says Exordia
that would
Creative
be cool, for
right
sure.
over top.
Yep.
But this is going to change, and I think, don't expect it to be the same for quite some time. The obvious step that we would like to take is to have a dedicated space that never gets torn down, that never has to be...
we build this up every time, by the way.
Yeah, we have to take it down, put it back together every single time. And so the ideal situation is we come in, we click record, and then it's done.
Yeah, we're looking to maybe rent a tiny little studio space with really nice acoustics to just have a permanent setup.
Yeah. So
hopefully we're there soon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, new news for the podcast itself too. So I don't know why, but Anchor's been rolling out a little slower than I anticipated.
Right.
So I think we're now streamable on like nine platforms.
Okay.
We're still waiting on Apple Music, but Spotify was right out the gate, and then there's some other weird ones. We're on SoundCloud now and all that.
And I think now we have the most listeners on Spotify.
Oh, no. We don't have the most listeners. Out of the people that listen only to the podcast,
right.
The majority of them are listening on Spotify.
Right, that's what I meant.
People are watching the podcast.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, thank you to everybody. For all the feedback, positive or negative, constructive criticism. We welcome all of that stuff. But yeah, we're still working on the setup and how we want it to look, but we welcome all the feedback and suggestions for sure.
Totally. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, just to address it, before we wrap it up, we are going to have a guest next week, and we're going to continue to have a guest the majority of the time, but every once in a while we like to sprinkle these one-on-ones in there just to kind of update you guys, keep it social media focused, because sometimes with our guest, we like to cater it to them. We like to talk about their area of expertise. hopefully use that as a learning opportunity for ourselves and for our listeners. But sometimes we like to bring it back to basics.
100%.
Talk about what we know best, what we like to do.
And let us know
On
what you
social
guys thought
media.
about the social media news too, because I think number one, that flowed really well.
Yeah, we can make a little segment.
And number
or
two, we
something.
could just make it a segment on the podcast, maybe
Yeah.
when it's just you and I, or maybe we'll leave it up to the people, and if they want it to be a thing with the guests as well, and we can get their input on what they think about it.
Definitely. Maybe we could talk about some specific industries that our guests are involved in
Yeah.
and how they use the new features.
Yeah.
Maybe we just had an event promoter last week.
Yes.
Shout out to Marina and 519 Events.
Yep.
So maybe we could ask her how she would use, for example, the Instagram map sticker.
Yep.
Somebody who's promoting events at locations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
All
yeah,
right.
let us know what you think about that.
Cool.
And stay tuned for next week because we're gonna have a pretty cool guest on.
Episode 6.
Episode 6 already.
Bada boom, bada bing.
That's
Cool,
it.
cool. I'm excited to get to double digits.
We'll get there soon.
All right. Oh, by the way, really quick before we end this off.
Yeah.
Our last Instagram post that we did of the panoramic of us working at our desks,
Mm-hmm.
we actually had a couple
Cool
people
picture.
ask for, pardon?
Cool picture.
Yeah. We had a couple people ask about a tutorial on how to do that. So I'm thinking in the next little bit, there's going to be a quick little video that I'm going to put out on our Instagram, and I can show people. It's a super simple thing to do,
Yeah.
but it was a very engaging post that got a lot of engagement, and we can definitely do a quick little tutorial on that. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's different ways you can play with that. You can break it up into, we chose to break the photo into 2 pictures. You could break it up into more.
Yep.
You can play with it. You can design your feed to look a certain way with it.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah, maybe we'll do a little quick tutorial on that.
I think it'd be pretty useful.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever you're doing with the podcast. If you have any feedback, please let us know. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And until next week, we'll see you then.
See you later, guys.
Peace.